This morning, my heart is filled with joy because I have the pleasure of introducing you to an amazing woman, Lisa Beck. Lisa has been a source of inspiration for me for about 10 years, which is when I became a member of Lisa's drumming community. Lisa is a performer of song, dance, and drum, probably some other things as well. She is a teacher and a leader. She is a community builder, having connected hundreds of people through her gifts of performing and teaching. She is a spiritual seeker and a woman wise beyond her years. She is also a writer and maintains a blog called Lisa Beck Living, which I have followed for years. Although she has performed at the Downtown Unitarian Society, this is the first time that we have coaxed her into our pulpit. I hope it's not the last. Lisa's light shines brightly and affects all around her in her positive way. You will see in her the qualities that she is speaking about this morning. I'm delighted to introduce Lisa to you so that you will have the opportunity to be inspired as I have.
So I'd like to read an excerpt from The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Chapter 1, page 9, You Are Not Your Mind. Enlightenment, what is that? A beggar had been sitting by the side of the road for over 30 years. One day, a stranger walked by. Spare some change, mumbled the beggar, mechanically holding out his old baseball cap. I have nothing to give you, replied the stranger. Then he asked, What's that you're sitting on? Nothing, said the beggar, just an old box. I've been sitting on it for as long as I can remember. Ever looked inside? Asked the stranger. No, said the beggar. What's the point? There's nothing in there. Have a look inside, insisted the stranger. The beggar managed to pry open the lid, and with astonishment, disbelief, and elation, he saw that the box was filled with gold. I am that stranger who has nothing to give you, and who is telling you to look inside. Not inside any box, as in the parable, but somewhere even closer, inside yourself. But I'm not a beggar, I can hear you say. Those who have not found their true wealth, which is the radiant joy of being and the deep, unshakable peace that comes with it, are beggars. Even if they have great material wealth, they are looking outside for scraps of pleasure or fulfillment, for validation, security, or love, while they have a treasure within that not only includes all of those things, but is infinitely greater than anything the world can offer. You can take a deep breath on that one. The word enlightenment conjures up the idea of some superhuman accomplishment, and the ego likes to keep it that way. But it is simply your natural state of felt oneness with being. It is a state of connectedness with something immeasurable and indestructible, something that, almost paradoxically, is essentially you, and yet is much greater than you. It is finding your true nature beyond name and form. The inability to feel this connectedness gives rise to the illusion of separation from yourself and from the world around you. You then perceive yourself, consciously or unconsciously, as an isolated fragment. Fear arises, and conflict within and without becomes the norm. I love the Buddha's simple definition of enlightenment as the end of suffering. There is nothing superhuman in that, is there? Of course, as a definition, it is incomplete. It only tells you what enlightenment is not: no suffering. But what's left when there is no more suffering? The Buddha is silent on that. And his silence implies that you'll have to find out for yourself. Time for our meditation. And we are going to do some movement and some breath, some very gentle movement and breath work and some body awareness. So I invite everyone to stand if you are able to stand. If you're more comfortable seated, you can sit as well. And if you are standing, to kind of spread out a little bit, because your arms might go out like this. Yes, and so your arms can be resting down at your sides. Your feet are together and touching. And just rocking forward and back on your feet, just finding your center of balance. Making sure that your ribs are directly over your hip bones. And your chin is just slightly tucked a little bit. Energy is shooting up through the top crown of your head. And I invite you to close your eyes and just have a natural, normal breath here. And just put your awareness into the bottoms of your feet and move up through the ankles, the calves, and into the knees. Moving your awareness to the front of the thighs and the back of the thighs. Moving the awareness into the hips, the low back and belly. Moving up the waist into the chest, the ribs, the side ribs, the back. And now moving your awareness into the space in between your shoulder blades and inviting your shoulders to just melt down. Moving your awareness into your upper arms, your elbows, into your forearms, and into your wrists. And moving the awareness into all 10 fingertips. Noticing if there's any sensation or any tingling in all 10 fingertips. And now moving your awareness into the palms of both hands. And feeling the air against the palms of both hands. And moving back up the arms, the elbows, upper arms, and shoulders, into the place that is the space between the top of your spine and the base of your skull. And moving the awareness up the back of the skull, into the crown of the head, and down into your third eye center, the space in between your eyebrows, inviting your eyebrows to just melt away from one another and relax. And relaxing all of the muscles of your face and allowing your tongue to be heavy in your mouth. And without changing or judging your breath, just notice the breath that you came here today with. Just notice the length of the inhale versus the length of the exhale. Notice if it feels a little shallow or quick or heavy, sluggish. Just notice it. And now begin to deepen your breath. Engage your breath by filling your belly as you inhale. And contracting your belly as you exhale. And we're going to put both hands on our belly. And I just invite you to make a little sound with that breath. It's almost like an ocean sound, or you can invite an ujjayi breath in, a slight constriction of the throat. Just filling your belly with breath on the inhale, feeling your body expand, and then contract on the exhale. And as you're filling your body with breath, just imagine that beautiful cleansing, healing breath going to all areas of your body, especially into any areas that feel stagnant or stuck. Send your beautiful breath there. And you can just rest your hands again at your sides. And you can slowly open your eyes for a moment. And we're going to invite our hands to come out and up as we inhale together. Filling the body with breath, and then exhaling the arms down, feeling the body contract, the belly contract on the exhale. We'll do that again. Inhale. Fill the belly with breath. Stretch your arms up, then exhale, contracting the breath, contracting the body. And let's do a little bend in the knees as we inhale. This time, bring your hands together like in a prayer position. And exhale as you just tilt to the right, letting all the breath go. Inhale back, standing straight, making sure your shoulders are down. Exhale to the left. And we'll do that one more time on each side. If your arms get tired, you can always go here. Inhale, nice big breath, and exhale, let everything go. And inhale. And then let's exhale to the left. And inhale back to center. And exhale to the heart, placing both hands on your heart. So let's push all of the air out of the belly. And inhale your arms up and out, taking in all of the love and light that exists, and exhaling, bringing it back into your heart. One more time, inhale, taking in all the love and the light that is available to us at all times. And exhale, taking it in. Now inhale with your hands here. And exhale and send all that love that you gathered to everyone around you, to the entire universe. Send it out. And inhale one last time. Gathering up all the love, and exhale, send all the love out into the universe. And you can just let your arms rest and just take a moment to close your eyes one last time. And just noticing how you feel in your body, and noticing your breath. So I have a few questions to start off with. Who is your source? What birthed you into being? Was it your parents, your grandparents, your great-great-great-great-grandparents, your ancestors? Who is your source? Is it your children, your best friend, your partner, husband, wife? Is it the house you grew up in or the home you live in now? Who or what is the source of your life? Is it financial security, your investments, your job, your clients, students, mentors, teacher? Who is your source and what is your source? Is it the energy and power of love and light that created the cosmos into being? Is it the infinite and abundant well of inspiration, wisdom, and insights? Is it what Eckhart Tolle calls the realm of the sacred or the treasure within? Is it what compels us to create, give, share, express, and want to make a difference in the world? If I could use one word to describe our source, I would say our source is love. That we come from love and that we return to love. A pure love, a place of wholeness and beingness. I also like to think of our source as a light, an eternal light that shines from within. And the chalice that you light every Sunday represents that light of love, that source. But it is always lit and always available to us, even in our darkest moments. And we can help one another remember that the light is always turned on, even if it only appears to be a tiny flicker. So call it God, Goddess, universal intelligence, whatever name you give it. It is always ready to engage with us and co-create with us. Because we don't have to do this all alone. We don't have to constantly figure things out in our little heads, in our brains. We don't have to strategize, stress, be consumed by the pressure that is upon us, that we feel is upon us to make things happen. We have the power that created the cosmos on our side. Let's open more to that direct line of wisdom and insight. Let's co-create with Source. Consider the source. Remember that when we allow the heart to lead the actions, thoughts, and deeds, we are tapped into that source. We are connected and liberated. We are free. And when we allow our egos to take over, our source is most often fear. Consider the source. The source of hate is fear. The source of greed is fear. The source of violence, oppression, and prejudice is fear. Consider the source of the actions others take. Actions that cause suffering and pain in people, in animals, in our planet. Consider the source when you belittle yourself, cut yourself down, have doubt, worry, when you project onto others. When your ego wants to cut you off from your source of love and light. I have to mention that I don't believe fear is necessarily always a bad thing. It can be used to motivate, identify, and be clear about what it is that we want and what it is that we don't want. It can gently push us forward into something beyond our comfort zone, like what I'm doing right now. It's a healthy fear. Butterflies of excitement and wonder fill our stomach. Fear can be a friend. As long as we don't allow ourselves to be consumed by it and ruled by fear, we can stay connected to our source, our love source, the sacred realm. So we were just singing about loving kindness, and the Buddhists talk about loving kindness. It's called metta, and is the first of 4 kinds of contemplation designed to develop a sound pacific relationship to other living beings. Metta's function is to promote friendliness and is manifested as the disappearance of ill will. And right at the start, the meditation for loving kindness is to be directed towards the self first. So again, I'm going to invite you to let's place our right hands on our heart. And you can repeat this internally. You don't have to say it out loud. This is the meditation for loving kindness. May I be happy. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. And may I be free from suffering. So we direct it within first. Because it keeps us connected and engaged with our source so that we can go out into the world and help others. So we know that peace begins within. Be the peace, be the change that you want to see in the world. But if we go about our lives feeling separate and disconnected from our source, even though we never are truly disconnected, how can we expect the world to change? Our work is our inner world, first and foremost. So I want to invite you to consider that you, in all of your perfect imperfection, as I like to say, you are worthy, lovable, and valuable. And the grand plans that you have for yourself in making the difference in the world begins with loving, forgiving, accepting, and celebrating exactly who you are. And there are 4 qualities that I want to share today, qualities that we can reflect on and contemplate every day, every week, that can help us to release resentment, fear, anxiety, and allow us to be totally available to our source, to experience more peace, ease, and grace in our lives. But first, I want to tell a personal story. It happened around 3 or 4 years ago. I was invited to perform with my drumming students, a few of which are here today, for an event in town. And it was the 2nd year in a row we had been invited to perform drumming. I just have to say that. I have to stress that it's drumming. And it was a wonderful event. We had a wonderful time the year before, so we were really excited. Rehearsals, costumes, we were ready to rock. And they placed us, when we got there, they placed us kind of under this stairwell, kind of in this corner. And within about 5 minutes of rocking out, and yay, we got the crowd, the organizers and staff came over to us. Oh, can you quiet down? Can you quiet down? Okay. So we quieted down, rocked out still, quiet, a little bit quieter. Again, oh, can you please quiet down, quiet down. A lot of frantic activity. Okay, we're drummers. I don't have a violin on me, but this happened again and again. And we were like, and they asked us to quiet down again. And I looked around and I said, let's go, we're gone. And I took us out of there, and I was shocked, I was angry, I felt rejected, and I felt so protective of my amazing students, some of which who took the entire day off of work. And why? Like, why did this happen? We had such great intentions, and we were there to just uplift. Why did they shut us down? It took a couple days, and I wrote a letter. Felt a little better after writing that letter, but still was just perplexed. And about a month later, I got an email from a woman who happened to be at that performance, loved us. She obviously didn't see the frantic activity that was going on. She just saw us drumming, rocking out. And she was from a town about an hour and a half away, and she was doing a similar event. And she's like, I've got to have your group perform at my event. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know about that. But I agreed to meet with her because she was so enthusiastic, and it seemed like she really got what we were about. And I met with her, and we had an amazing meeting, and I fell in love with her mission. And she said, you're coming to this event, you're going to have center stage, all eyes are going to be on you, we're going to pay for your lunch, we'll pay for your travel expenses, please come. So we did. And it ended up being one of the best experiences. And at that event, I collected around 50 signatures of emails of women who wanted me to come to their town and teach. So I've been back around 6 or 7 times to this town to teach. So the obvious gifts, the gifts are obvious, right? The gift of that really uncomfortable experience is obvious. But I realized that it could have gone another way, because life doesn't always turn out that way, right? We work really hard, we have our costumes, we're ready to go, our intentions are clear. Maybe she would have woken up that morning and had a flat tire, that woman who never came and never saw us. And I would just be sitting with what happened, because I know from experience, life happens. And I was actually reading an article by Martha Beck, no relation to me, but she's a regular contributor to O Magazine the other day. And she talks about this, and she says, whether or not we're born with it, we're certainly socialized into the belief that the nickels and dimes of virtuous acts will drop snack-sized potato chip bags of happiness into our lives. Our parents offer praise for obedience. Our bosses give productive employees promotions and unproductive ones pink slips. Our courts at least try to punish misbehaviors and recompense the wronged. And she goes on to talk about how television and movies and stories show us that the bad guys lose and the good guys win. She says, no wonder we're stunned, as I was stunned, when we follow the path of compliance into catastrophe. And she goes on to say, following paths of stillness and curiosity rather than rage and despair, we eventually make a fascinating discovery. Although the righteousness reward theory hasn't worked for us so far, it contains a bright thread of truth. There is a kind of virtue that really does equal happiness. And this virtue is not about following the rules, dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making everyone like you. This virtue speaks of integrity and living in your truth. So as I was looking back on that experience, despite what came later, all those amazing things that came later, what were the gifts of just going through that really kind of uncomfortable experience? Number one, I recognized that I would probably say something that I would regret if we stayed in that situation and just tried to make it work. I looked around and I said, we're out of here, let's go. I just need to remove us all from this situation. It's not working out. Number two, I waited a few days to cool off. I didn't get on the phone, I waited a few days, I got back to my center, and I wrote a letter that I'm really super proud of, and that was well received. And number three, I've cultivated tools, I've learned tools to kind of get me back to my center. And in the moment, in the heat of the moment, it's very difficult to do. But like what we just did with that meditation, just coming back to center, shaking it out. You can just do that, right? And it helps you, it makes you feel better right away. Because life can be bumpy, unpredictable, and downright prickly at times. So to close, I want to share 4 qualities or actions that I go to, touchstones that I go to regularly that help me get back to my center and back to my source, to grow and expand and reconnect. The first is acceptance. Not condoning what happened, not condoning the behavior, but accepting it. It happened. It's a result of a decision that somebody made, a result of a decision that you made. It sucks. It just is. We spend so much time rejecting and resisting what is. But we can move on and say, okay, now what? It happened, now what? So acceptance is number 1. Number 2 is forgiveness. This is the biggest thing for me personally, forgiveness. It sets us free. Again, we're not condoning any behavior. We're forgiving that person. But first and foremost, just like the loving kindness meditation, who do we need to forgive first? Ourselves. And there is a beautiful Hawaiian healing practice called Ho'oponopono prayer. And it was taught to me by one of my teachers, Ann Vandewater, who lives in town, and I use it often. And so I invite you to join me in this loving kindness Ho'opono, which actually means to make things right. So we're going to direct this prayer towards ourselves. If you feel inspired, you can put your hand on your heart, because that's right, our connection to Source. We're plugged in right here. And repeat these internally. First, take a deep breath. I love myself. I'm sorry for any harm I've ever caused myself. I forgive myself. I am grateful for myself. Do that one more time. I love myself. I'm sorry for any harm I've ever caused myself. I forgive myself, and I'm grateful for myself. And you can open your eyes. So you can do that again and again. Then, next step, you direct it towards somebody in your life who has supported you, a mentor, a friend. I love you. I'm sorry for any harm I've ever caused you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And repeat it and repeat it. Then you move on to somebody who has been challenging you, who you felt challenged by. And if it's difficult to say, I love you, you can say, I have universal love for you. I'm sorry for any harm I have caused you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And then my favorite one of all, to the universe. I love you, universe. I'm sorry for any harm I've caused anyone or anything. Please forgive me. Thank you. Forgiveness sets us free. Even if you're unable to forgive someone right now, we can move in that direction. And that Ho'oponopono prayer is a nice tool to use. The third is gratitude. Yay! An attitude of gratitude. And I personally have found the more grateful I am, the better my life becomes. And not only because of that, it's also because you feel more connected and more a part of this world, and like you want to help more and share and be of service. And studies have proven, as we've all read, that gratitude has amazing effects. Stronger immune systems, lower blood pressure. We exercise more and take better care of our health. We sleep longer and feel more refreshed upon awakening. We have higher levels of positive emotions. We're more alert. Just had to see if you were awake. Alive and aware. We experience more joy and pleasure. We're more optimistic. We're more helpful, generous, forgiving, outgoing, and less lonely and isolated. So acceptance, forgiveness, and gratitude. And finally, my favorite, well, they're all my favorite. I keep saying it's my favorite. Embodiment. To embody is to become an expression of or give a tangible or visible form to an idea, quality, or feeling. So think of the qualities that you hold the most high, the values that you hold the most high. Do you embody these qualities every day? I don't. I have to check myself often, but the first step is to just be aware. I'm being a jerk right now. I'm not embodying loving kindness. Okay, the awareness is the first thing. By checking in daily and paying attention to the way we react, the things we tell our children, the heat of the moment with our spouse, while driving in rush hour traffic, doing the dishes, running all around crazy, we take a good hard look at what is being embodied versus what we want to be embodying. And we embody our true nature when we take those deep breaths, when we pause, when we meditate, when we move and dance and stretch and release. We embody when we do our forgiveness practice, express gratitude, and cultivate loving kindness towards ourselves and others. So to close, I invite you once more to close your eyes, just right where you are, and take deep breaths. Feel into the connection to your source right now. Feel it through your heart, your third eye, through the top of your head, deep into your gut, all the way to the base of your spine and in your feet. Feel the connection to source in every cell of your body. Consciously connect yourself to the earth. Connect yourself to the stars and sun and moon. Connect yourself to the plants and animals and people in your world. Breathe into the connection that exists between us all and within us all. Take one last deep breath, and when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I wish for you much peace, ease, liberation, love, and an active connection to your source. Remember your source. Remember your truth. Be you in all of your perfect imperfection. Become the embodiment of all that you hold dear. I see it, I feel it for you, for me, and for all. And so it is.